Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Now, the talks about Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia. In my opinion, it's a drug scandal. And the more people talk, the more we learn. And I'm going to tell y'all again to sit back, strap in your seatbelts, and just listen to everyone who is deciding to get involved and start to run their mouths about Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney. Because little by little, we're starting to get more and more information to where we can start trying to stitch this together. Because I already have an idea of the direction things are going. Just like with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder, certain things you couldn't make me believe. People had things to say about Hood Champion. Hood Champion called me what is that word the dummies use? Uncle Tom. People unsubscribed. All because I said, let's sit back and see how the Wilder Fury situation plays out. And after we let it get past that second fight to that third fight, then we were able to stop and say, you know what? From where there's smoke, there's fire. And I concluded, it is my opinion, that Tyson Fury definitely had help inside, outside the ring, and also had some shit in his system. I do believe that. And the reason I believe that is because who he was working with. Now, you look at Deontay Wilder, and we're going to sit here and talk about reduced brain volume, right? You look at Deontay Wilder, and look at what's going on with him. You can't tell me that when it comes to Deontay Wilder, that those fights with Tyson Fury didn't take something out of him. You know what I'm saying? It's, when you start to lose brain volume, the certain areas of the brain that start to become affected, you know, especially with guys who are boxers and active and taking a lot of damage or trauma to the brain, right? Because every time someone gets punched in the head, they take trauma to the brain. But what you see happening with a lot of these fighters is when those areas of the brain that start to become affected, it's similar to like guys having, actually leads to these guys having CTE and kind of similar to Alzheimer's. So when you start looking at the changes in brain volume, right, you start to notice that there can be significant differences when it comes to a fighter who hasn't taken really that much damage or has retired. Because if you got a fighter who's taking a lot of damage, you're gonna notice when it comes to being able to think properly, right? And if he's still an active fighter, he can't think and react the way he was reacting before his brain volume was reduced. But if you have a fighter who just retired, you'll notice that his ability to think, his ability to memorize things, and especially if you were giving him a test, you'll notice that those scores have improved once they're retired. And if you have somebody who's never taken any real trauma to the brain, you notice that their scores are always higher. So for me, when I look at Deontay Wilder and Devin Haney, right? One's a current fighter. I don't know what direction Deontay Wilder's going, but I definitely think Deontay Wilder had brain volume loss. And I think that last fight he had with Zhang didn't do anything to help him, especially when it comes for his ability to think and for his brain to be able to process fast. Now you talk about Devin Haney and what just happened with him and Ryan Garcia. Let me tell you something. We're talking about these guys and reducing brain volume and how that affects their ability to think, affects their brain's processing speed. It's scary. Now, we look at Deontay Wilder, right? Because we're going to get an opportunity to see Devin Haney get in the ring again. When you took a look at Deontay Wilder and you saw him in the Helenius fight, of course, him having Freaky Maliki in his corner had a whole lot to do with Deontay Wilder kind of circling around the ring and his overall change of style, right? But there's something that I even saw in that fight with Helenius to where I was like, damn, Deontay Wilder, something just seems off. And of course, everyone thinks that it has something to do with Malik Scott. I think it has a whole lot to do. But I think it had a lot to do with Tyson Fury putting the bing bings on him as well. Wilder didn't look like he was able to pull the trigger like he was able to before. Didn't look like his timing was really there because early in the round, Helenius caught him with a good shot. And then you saw, as the round progressed, Wilder was just pretty much throwing wild shots and on his back foot. And he just didn't seem to be able to pull things together until finally his back was on the ropes and he just instinctively threw a shot and Helenius was there to be hit. Then you fast forward to Wilder against Parker and you heard him say, I'm thinking things, but it's like he wasn't able to process things the way he was able to before. And that goes back to what I'm telling you, what I was telling you just now about fighters who've taken trauma to the brain, suffering from a reduced brain volume. And you saw him when he get in there with Zhang, it was the same thing. Now don't get me wrong, freaking Maliki has a whole lot to do when it talks about brain volume. Now brain volume can be measured. And they've had scientists go out here and do tests on groups of fighters, boxers and MMA fighters, and active and retired. And they started these tests with fighters who were active and then retired, and those who were active and continued being active. And when they ran these series of tests, the battery of tests showed that the fighters who were active scored lower than taking the same test after they retired because their brain volume has started to recover and to increase. But those who stayed active showed their brain volume was low and was just getting worse and worse. And their ability to memorize things and the ability for their brain to process at a normal speed or fast speed, that continued to diminish. Now with Devin Haney and him getting back into the ring, we're going to see, because in my opinion, Devin Haney relies a lot on not just having fast feet, not just having fast hands, but to be able to think in that ring. IQ. What happens to Devin Haney? People keep talking about, oh, the punch resistance, oh, the confidence, the psychological damage. No. Neurological. What happens to Devin Haney when we start to notice that he can't think fast? His brain can't process. He's not able to remember the things that he was told to do going into the ring. It takes him a while to process stuff because now he has this neurodegeneration as a result of Ryan Garcia putting the Mexican-American bing-bings on him. Because all those things I just mentioned are relative contributions to neurodegeneration, which is what I think we could be seeing in Deontay Wilder and the direction that Devin Haney could be going. Same way you got these scientists out here trying to figure out ways to measure brain volume loss in individuals and the way they continue to do it and different tests and battery of tests they're administering. It's the same way we as boxing fans, just with our skilled eyeball, can sit back and watch a guy like Devin Haney and measure his ability to perform in the ring and say, you know what, he ain't the same. We've done it with everyone else, haven't we? Especially Deontay Wilder. The thing about Devin Haney is we can blame freaking Maliki. With Devin Haney, if he doesn't change trainers and he stays with his dad, we can't blame trainers because he's doing the same thing with the same trainer. It's going to be what else could be causing his problems. And I think we're going to see a reduction in his brain volume. And I'm not even, this is a serious damn conversation, people. Just watch him. If he starts to maybe talk a little slower, to maybe stutter a bit more, to get in the ring and all of a sudden he can't react, his reaction time slows down. He's all of a sudden getting hit more than what we're used to seeing by guys who are smaller than him. Remember, when he's bigger than those guys, he has his way. The guy we saw with Ryan Garcia, same height or bigger, reach or more speed, more power. Devin was getting the beans put on him. We could say all day, oh, because Devin fought the wrong fight. But let's see what happens in his next fight. Because I definitely think what we're talking about, man, as far as Devin Haney and what he is unable to do in the ring is going to be a predictor of this degeneration neurological degeneration. And that's just my opinion. But I am going to sit there, man, and I'm going to be paying attention to it. Right now, everybody is so caught up in whether they feel Ryan intentionally did something. Now people are looking at Devin Haney and his pops. They're looking at Zab Judah. They're looking at this guy Scooter, because Scooter worked with Zab Judah before. Then Scooter come and help Ryan. And Scooter gave Ryan some goddamn shit the day before the fight. And Ryan tests positive all of a sudden. Looking at Victor Conti. And when you sit back and you look at this whole situation, I'm telling you, man, it seems to me, from where there's smoke, there's fire. But forget all of that for this video. What we need to really be looking at, man, is brain volume. And I just don't think the fluctuations in brain volume, I just don't think that's healthy. But I think the fluctuations in brain volume in fighters and what we could see with Devin Haney going forward can be attributed to just a lot of the damage and the trauma that he's took from Ryan Garcia. He's probably taking his next coming fights, getting damaged, getting punched in the head, man. It's not good. And what I would like to happen, I wish there was a way where I know nobody's going to do it. They need to go out there and have the brain volume of Devin Haney measured right now, and just see what he's looking like in the next couple of fights. Check out the volume loss. See where it's at. Was it affected? Was it not affected? I mean, there has to be some kind of there has to be, I know there's a way for them to do it. I just don't know if Devin will do it. I don't know how extensive the tests are, but there's definitely a reliable test to give a reliable interpretation of the measurement of the brain volume. But anyway, we got to see it. It'll probably take over a year to really get some definitive data, some quantitative data where they can actually look at over, I would say quarters. I don't know if they can do it month to month, but maybe over a 4-quarter period just to take a look at the brain volume in a guy like Devin Haney. Nobody's really thinking about that shit, man. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we'll see what's going on with Devin, Ryan. When they talk about all these fighters, man, just take this conversation and just kind of peanut butter spread it across all these fighters, man. Reliable brain, it's called brain atrophy, right? Reliable brain atrophy detection in an individual. When it comes to a lot of scientists, they feel it may be feasible if the rate of the brain volume loss is large. And I think for Devin Haney, depending on his next couple of fights, if he gets beat down like he did against Ryan Garcia, I think the rate of his brain volume could be large. His brain volume loss could be large. When it comes to Deontay Wilder, I no doubt feel the rate of his brain loss volume is large because of the way he's been getting the shit beat out of himself. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 continents. We saw what happened to Wilder. We see what happened to other fighters. And then the shit spirals into CTE and signs of Alzheimer's, all kind of shit. People, we looking at these guys, and because we're not experts in those fields, we don't know what we're seeing. But I'm going to tell you right now, when I look at Wilder, when I look at Errol Spence, and now I'm starting to pay attention to Devin Haney to see what happens with him going forward. Have we seen a reduction in brain volume in Spence and Wilder? And are we going to see that with Devin Haney? Have a real conversation, man. Fuck whether Ryan Garcia cheated or not. Fuck whether you think Devin Haney and Bill and Conti and everybody try to bring Ryan Garcia down. We could talk about that forever, right? But let's get to the real deal here. What happens to a guy like Devin Haney when the dust settles, if it comes out that Ryan Garcia, no kidding, had an advantage and he fucked up Devin Haney so bad to now this man has a reduction in brain volume? That's the conversation. Y'all, I'm in the breeze.